Wow, Miss T, those first 2 units we did were so incredible.
They were awesome!
Right? I just hope that our third topic is at least as good.
Honestly, I think it'll measure up.
So speaking of measurement, there's a whole bunch of things in this world that can be measured. And for all of them, there are multiple ways to actually calculate and indicate the measurement.
Did you know in Canada we use the SI system, or the metric system as it's more commonly known as?
Oh, we've been using that a while, hey?
Yeah, I'd say since 1976.
So that system, I believe it uses the meter as its standard base of length.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I'm aware, you use it a lot in your science classes, right?
Oh, totally. All of science relies on the metric system.
Wow, science is great, metrics great. I wonder if there's any other systems out there.
Oh yeah, there's the Imperial system.
Oh?
Yeah, that's actually the official system in Liberia, Myanmar, and America.
That's intense. But I swear I've seen other measurements used in other countries. Like I've seen the UK when I visit my cousins. They set their speed limits in miles per hour, but they still use SI units?
Yep, sometimes different places use different systems for different things.
Wow, that's whack.
So speaking of the Imperial system, this is what the main components are. So we have the mile, we have yards, we have feet, and we have inches. And you've probably heard of these units before, but just so that you know how they kind of convert between one and the other, 1 mile contains 1,760 yards. 1 yard contains 3 feet.
Jeepers.
And 1 foot contains 12 inches.
Oh my.
And that's way different than the metric system, because notice how there's really no consistent kind of conversion from one to the other, whereas the metric system, that's all based on unit tens.
Yeah, that base 10 is real handy when we just know that we have to multiply by 10 or divide by 10 or some power of 10. But with the imperial system, when we express our lengths, if we have to use decimals, we might actually use combinations instead. So when I state my height, I actually don't state I'm 5'9", because I'm 5'8.5". But we'd say a combination of feet and inches, 5 feet and 9 inches, instead of saying 5.75 feet.
Whoa. You're saying 5'9" is not the same as 5.9?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. That's exactly what I'm saying. Because, again, a foot is 12 inches, not 10 inches. So 5'9" is not saying 9/10 of a foot. We're saying 9/12 of a foot, because we have 9 out of the full 12 inches. Hence your 5.75.
So what you're saying is we're going to be using improper or mixed fractions a lot to talk about the imperial system.
Oh, you know it.
All right, so let's kick things off. Let's talk about converting 75 inches as a combination in feet and inches.
Okay.
All right, so if I'm taking a look at this, I'm starting off at my 75 inches. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to convert it to feet. And the way that I'm going to do that is I am going to divide by this conversion rate. And notice that the conversion rate is 12 inches per 1 foot, right? Even though that they use different units in the top and the bottom, 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. So we have something on the top equal to the same thing on the bottom. So that's like saying I have something divided by itself. So that means that whole entity is 1. So this purple thing down here, by dividing by 12 inches per foot, that's the same thing as dividing by 1. So I'm not really changing anything about the value that I have. The only thing that I'm changing is the units. So if I'm saying, 75 inches, the number might change, right? I see that my final answer is 6 feet and 3 inches. Obviously, the numbers are really different, but the real thing that's changed are the units. So the values are still equivalent.
So whenever we do our unit conversions, we're always going to be employing some sort of form of 1, like this 12 inches per foot.
All right, So back at it here. So now I have, let me get rid of this circle and this line and that arrow. But now we have 12 inches divided by 12 inches per foot. And right now that is an improper fraction. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make that into a mixed fraction. So I end up with 6 feet and 3 inches over 12 inches per foot. Notice that I can reduce this, but I'm not going to, because having 3/12 of a foot is saying I have 3 inches out of the total 12 inches in 1 foot. So that's actually going to be handy to leave not reduced. I mean, this is probably one of the only times we'll ever say to do that. But our final answer here is going to be 6 feet and 3 inches.
How on earth did you know it was 6 and 3/12? Like, I have no idea how to get 75 over 12s to that.
Okay, so we can do this in kind of a couple of different ways. I can do long division. I don't know, but I probably don't want to. What I can do is I can use my calculator.
Oh.
So what I would do is in my calculator, go 75 divided by 12, and I'm going to get what? I think it is 6.25. And so I know I have 6 full feet inside of my 75 inches, and then I have some sort of remainder, or some sort of leftover portion, right? And I might know that, 0.25 is a quarter, and a quarter of 12 is 3, but I might also not know that, and that's totally cool. So right now, I know, based on this math that I did, I know that I have a total of 6 feet and something left over. Now, to figure out what I have left over, what I'm going to do is, I have 75 inches, and I'm going to subtract 6 times 12 of them, because I have 6 feet, and each foot includes 12 inches. And that gives me 75 minus 72, which gives me a remainder of 3. And those are the 3 inches I have left over. So I have 6 feet, 3 inches. So if I don't like looking at this and turning this into a mixed fraction, because that kind of hurts my brain a little bit, that's totally cool. We can use this method of indicating things, but again, you don't have to show this work necessarily, because that's something that you could do in your calculator.
Neat.
All right. Take it away!
Oh, I will. And I will express at least one of these as a combo of feet and inches. So starting with this 30 inches business here, and switching to one of my top 20 colors, blue, I will say that 30 inches is equal to 30 inches over, we're going to divide by this conversion rate. Yeah, actually, you know what? I prefer to do a multiply way. So instead of dividing by 1 like we did here, I'm going to multiply by 1. And in multiplying by 1, I'm going to say that 12 inches is equal to 1 foot.
Whoa. How do you know to put the 12 inches on the bottom and the 1 foot on the top? I understand that that's equal to 1, so it's not going to change my value.
Yeah.
But how do I know? Why don't I put 12 on the top and 1 on the bottom?
If you think about it this way, we've got like 30 inches over 1 over there. And I want to multiply by something to get rid of these inches and introduce feet. So if I want to get rid of the inches, I've got inches on top here, I better have inches on the bottom. And then if I know I'm dealing with 12 inches with every foot, well, inches are over here, feet will be on the other end. And that's how I set that thing up.
Oh, so what you're saying is if I start with a certain unit and I wish to get rid of it, I need to put that in the bottom, and then the units that I want to get, I want to put at the top.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, cool.
Well, time to do some things. In this case, we're going to have essentially 30 over 12 feet, because 30 divided by 1 times 1 divided by 12 is 30 over 12. And according to my skills of making fractions, this will be 2, not quite 3. 2 feet is 24 inches, so my remainder will be 6 out of those 12 feet. So I have 2 whole feet and then 6/12 of a foot, which means that I have 2 feet and 6 inches.
Wicked. Let me try.
I'm letting you. I'm letting you try.
Thank you. All right, so taking a look at this next example here, I'm going to start off with that 112 inches. Just so that we are aware, having these 2 apostrophes, or those quotation marks, I suppose, end quotation marks, that's the same thing as inches. It's a different way of writing it. So if you're thinking about ever expressing your height, I am 5'3". So the 2 sets of apostrophes there represent inches. The 1 set of apostrophe, represents feet. So if you ever see something like this, that is something that you would need to be aware of. This represents inches, this represents feet. All right. So I too enjoy representing it as a multiplication. That's my personal fave. I know that if I have inches at the top, to get rid of them, I need inches on the bottom, and I want to end up with feet, so I need to put feet on the top. To make my one statement here, I need to have 12 inches per 1 foot, and now I am cooking. So I have 112 over 12, and the units that I end up with are feet because my inches canceled out. Now, I need to turn this into a mixed fraction. And I'm going to go ahead and plug this into my calculator and go 112 divided by 12. And I'll maybe do this on the side here because this is something that maybe you wouldn't have to write down. But I have 112 divided by 12, and that gives me 9.3 repeating. And so I know that I will have 9 whole feet in there. Now, what's that 0.3 repeating? Well, 1/3 of 12 would be 4/12. So I will have 9 and 4/12 feet. But again, if you did not kind of see how that came about, we know that if we had 112 inches minus 9 times 12, because 9 feet and each foot includes 12 inches, we end up with just 4 left, which gives us our 4/12. Back to this. And so I will have 9 feet and 4 inches. So sometimes it's actually useful to express things not just in a combination of feet and inches, but as a combination of yards, feet, and inches.
Yeah, because sometimes there's a whole lot of feet. So getting to have all 3 of them is kind of necessary, just like we have meters, centimeters, and maybe even millimeters together. I don't know. But we're going to express these next ones in the triple combo, such as this 359. First thing I'm going to do is just convert this to a combo of feet and inches. So that I've done before in my life. I would normally say something like this is 359 inches and being multiplied by 1 foot per 12 inches, which gets me something like 29.9166666. And it goes on forever. If I turn that into a fraction, well, I know that I've got at least 29 feet, which I can write actually over here. But 9 is spelled with a 9. So I have at least 29, and then something else. 29 feet, according to my calculator skills, is something like 348, which leaves me with 11 inches unused. So 359 is 29 and 11/12 of a foot, which essentially means I'm at 29 feet and some number of inches. 11 inches. Yay, I'm done. Psych! I'm not done. I still have to get to these yards. Now a yard, as was stated earlier, is equal to 3 feet. I figured that out. So when I translate this, well, I'm going to convert just, I have all these magic ones right here. I'm going to convert just the 29 feet. I'm going to say 29 feet is equal to, well, 29 feet times, I want to get rid of feet, I want to introduce yards, and I know that there are 3 feet in every 1 yard. And going through my division process, 29 divided by 3 gives me, what am I doing with my life, 9? 9 threes is 27, so my remainder is 2. So 29 feet is equal to 9 2/3 of a yard. So 29 feet, I can say, is 9 yards and 2 feet. Putting all of this together involves the fact that I've got, well, these 29 feet, which were 9 yards and 2 feet, but I've also got these 11 inches. So everything all in all for our 359 inches is equal to 9 yards. Is this going to write for me? Yes. 2 feet and 11 inches.
So a really common mistake that I see happen is that people don't quite remember that they've taken this 29 feet that they have and they've converted it, right? So I no longer am going to write 29 feet at all because 29 feet is the same as 9 yards and 2 feet. So what I see people do more often than not is they will say, well, I have 9 yards, a total of 31 feet and 11 inches, which is incorrect. We've completely replaced this 29 feet with this combination here. So with what Mr. Athide has written, we are all good to go. All right, we're going to try this next example together as well. And to kick things off, we're going to do so in purple. So I have 255 inches. And my first step is to convert that into feet. So to do so, I'm going to make sure I have my inches on the bottom, my feet on the top. And by multiplying by 1, I know that 12 inches is 1 foot. So I end up with 255 over 12 feet because my units for inches have canceled out. Now when I plug this into my calculator, 255 divided by 12, that gives me 21.25. So I know I will have 21 whole feet there. And again, I'll just kind of do this on the side, and I'll only do this for maybe one more example, because from here, you could either do it mental math-wise, or you could do it in the method with your calculator. But if I had 255, and I'm subtracting 21 feet, which are 12 inches each, 255 minus 21 times 12, well, that will give me 3. So I end up here with 21 3/12 of a foot, which gives me 21 feet and 3 inches. Now I'm going to take these feet here and see if I can convert that to a combination of yards and feet. Well, I'm going to take those 21 feet and I'm going to multiply it by 1. I'm going to ensure that feet are on the bottom and yards are at the top. I know that there are 3 feet in each yard. And when I do that, I get 21 over 3 yards because my units for feet canceled out. And hey, that actually is perfect. 21 divided by 3 is just straight up 7 yards. There's no feet left. So when I state my final answer, I say, well, 255 inches is equal to my 7 yards, which again is what those 21 feet were. So I'm not going to write 7 yards and 21 feet, but I'm just going to write 7 yards and my remaining 3 inches.
Neat. Feel free to try these others, and then pause this video, etc., etc. and then see if what you got matches up with what we got. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to say 99 inches is same as taking those 99 inches, multiplying by 1 foot over 12 inches. And that gives me 8 3/12 of a foot, which is 8 feet and 3 inches. Done. JK lol. 8 feet is the same as taking 8 feet, multiplying by 1 yard for every 3 feet, which gets me 2 2/3 of a yard, which is 2 yards and 2 feet. All in all, what I've got is, oops, I should say what I had originally, 99 inches. 99 inches is equal to 2 yards. Yikes. 2 feet, so that covers my 8 feet. And I've still got to deal with those 3 inches.
All right, zooming through this last example here. So we have 152 inches that we want to start by converting into feet. Inches on the bottom, feet on the top. We have 12 inches per 1 foot to get our multiplied by 1. We end up with 152 over 12 feet. And when I beep boop bop this into my calculator, I figure out that I have 12 feet and 8/12 of a foot left. And so that gives me 12 feet and 8 inches. Now I know that I can take these 12 feet and try and convert them into yards. So 12 feet times 1, which is 1 yard, is 3 feet. So I could cancel out my feet units. I will get 12 over 3 yards. And hey, this one works out perfectly too. So this gives me 4 yards. So altogether, the 152 inches that I've started off with are equal to 4 yards and 8 feet.
Oh, inches.
Oh, sorry. Good. Thank you.
That's why I came today.
Boop. And 8 inches. Okay. Taking a look at our work, things that we need to make sure that we include. We need to make sure that we have some sort of conversion there. So maybe we stated we're multiplying by 1 by showing what we have here. Or we've divided by 1 like we did in that first kind of walkthrough example. But we need to have that conversion present. And that's for both steps. Okay. What else do we need to include?
Beyond that, I'd say what you need to include is this combo right over here. Right, we need to see that you've actually gone from this business to this other business. That there's a relationship between the two.
And that goes the same for down here as well. So these steps in between are useful to show you what you're doing and help you kind of provide consistency throughout your work, but they are not necessary steps for you to show. Aside from those two, we do need to have a final answer indicated, and you can't just say, well, this is equal to 4 yards and 8 inches, because this assumes it's equal to whatever is directly above it. So we need to make sure that we're restating what we started off with by saying, well, we had 152 inches, and that is equal to 4 yards and 8 inches.
Yeah, there needs to be a connection to the original measurement that was given.
All right. Oops. Erase. Oh, okay, that's fine. So there is some practice in the textbook.
Yes.
Otherwise, we will see you in the coming days and look forward to trying some more examples.
Yeah, it's been a slice.
Adios, muchachos!